Well, good morning and welcome to the art room. Here we are, and I wanted to give you a few tips this morning in this free art lesson that we're offering you. When I'm in the classroom, whether with small children or adults or senior citizens, one of the elements of composition that very often my students are not really aware of is the importance of the negative space. Now, back in the Stone Age, before digital cameras, when we took photographs, we would print up a negative, right? I'm sure most of you remember that. And in a negative photograph, the person comes out white and the background comes out black. Now, of course, when you put it into the bath with the chemicals and all those magical things, the picture emerges. But when it's in the negative stage, the parts which are not the important part, the parts which are background, come out with a deep tone. People often don't realize how important those negative areas, those background areas are to the way the composition hangs together. Now, I have here in front of me one of my favorite pieces that I've kept for years. This was done by a little girl. She was only 7, and we were drawing a praying mantis, which is rather a horrible beast. It has very unpleasant personal habits. However, the praying mantis is a great shape, and the object of this exercise, which this child in particular really got fantastically well for her age, was the importance of picking out all the negative spaces and coloring those a strong color and moving from those to the main object of the picture. What it tends to do if you focus on your negative shapes first is it tends to pull it together and really give it a tight boundary. So I'm going to try sketching this out here for you, and I'll show you how to start by coloring the negatives first, and let's see what happens. Now, I use this trick a great deal when I'm painting, when I'm doing designs, and it's something that I really stress so that even my 5-year-olds understand what negative space is, and we're looking for negative space. And in fact, if for teachers out there, it's a great game to find the negative spaces, that they'll get quite competitive. So over here, I'm going to start with my praying mantis eye, and it has a kind of triangular little head like so. He has a rather vicious little serrated, or especially if it's a her praying mantis, she has a very vicious habit there, which she achieves by virtue of her little serrated jaw. And here's her neck. Now I'm going to just sketch it out very quickly because I do want to show you how the negative space issue works. So say this is my, we'll just work on this side of the picture. Say this is my creature over here, and presumably she or he is on a shrub. So there might be some leaves back here, there might be some blossoms, there might be additional leaves hanging down. The animal itself may be on a leaf. Let's put in a few more shapes. I'm doing these just very random. All right, so when you start to color on this area, instead of coloring the leaves and the praying mantis, what you want to do is pick a nice strong color, and of course the color you pick for your negative space is going to really set the color for the whole picture. And you're going to trace out that negative space so you can all see, right? You can all see that this is the negative. There's nothing happening. There are no plants, leaves. It could be sky, it could be complete background color. And I'm going to shade that in real quick, like so. Get it down into here maybe. Get it down into here. Get some into there. Now I'm using one color, but of course you don't have to stick with one color. And because this is chalk, I can just blend it around a little bit. And if you're doing this lesson at home, there are amazing things lying around in your drawers at home. You don't always need the fanciest of art materials. I've got some cotton wool here. I've got some little Q-tips that you can use to blend the color with and pull it into different areas. So now, once you have that set up, then you start with your actual objects. And let's do a leaf. Always use 2 shades of green, don't forget, 2 shades of green. And you can start to see that the objects are emerging from the negative spaces, and the whole thing, I think, even though we've just done a tiny little bit very, very loosely, you can see the whole thing has a good chance of really coming together. So again, when we look at this one, we can see that this particular student colored in all these little teeny weeny negatives with purple. Had these little really inconsequential spaces not been colored purple, the effect would have been very different and not as strong and tight. So I guess my parting words to you, my parting words of wise advice are, if you're doing a design, whether it be charcoal, pastel, pencil, colored pencil, paint, think about trying to color your negative spaces first and then follow with the actual subject and see if that doesn't give your compositions a whole new pop. I hope you enjoyed this free lesson, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.